the decision was to film the actual python hunt?
Yeah, thanks for the question. And Tim and I, we go way back, and you've been seeing my films for years.
So 2010, I actually checked.
Really? Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, Lance is a good friend of mine, and I had, kind of been drawn to making films in South Florida where I grew up, and I made a project called Lance Lazardi, no relation to Lance Oppenheim, about a kid that was obsessed with reptiles that's trying to get on the Conan O'Brien show. Anyway, that was just like that film had such an amazing reaction in outside of Florida, like LA and New York.
Yeah.
People were reacting like it was the craziest, funniest thing. And I was I made it almost as a joke.
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked by this reaction. I was like, well, I'd been making movies in LA where I moved, and I was like, maybe I need to move back to Florida and really make stuff here. Maybe this is sort of my calling. And so I did move back to South Florida where I grew up, and I started putting some projects together, but they got so mad. I wrote like a scripted film about the exotic pet trade, specifically about the reptile trade, that I was working on for years. That was sort of the offshoot of the Lance Lazardi short. I tried to get off the ground, and it just sort of, the typical Hollywood thing happens where a bunch of producers attach themselves, and the budget gets big, and you need to get fancy actors to be in the film, and it wasn't getting off the ground. And Lance just suggested to me the Python Challenge.
Yeah.
And I was just had done all this research, read all these books, like was going out looking for frogs and reptiles in the middle of the night, but I hadn't really ever considered going python hunting.
Going into it.
I'd known about the bounty program that Jimbo was in, but this was one of the first years when Lance reached out to me that they put this contest in the summer. I think they moved it around a lot. So it was one of the first years it was in the summer, and it was 10 days. And when Lance reached out to me, it was like a month before this contest. So I was like, well, there's no time to raise money for this. I'm just gonna see what this is about.
Yeah.
And I joined the competition, and it was way more interesting than I expected. And also, with animal stuff, I was just so excited to shoot something, be out in the Florida Everglades. You know this, like if you write a movie that takes place in Florida, people want you to shoot it in Georgia or New Orleans. So it's like, I want to film the real thing.
Well, it's harder to fake the Everglades than it is to say fake Tampa.
Yeah, and the thing that Lance did for us is that Lance suggested his DP, David Boland, to do that first shoot. And David Boland shot Some Kind of Heaven, which is a beautiful film. And that first summer, I joined the contest. I met a bunch of people. I rode in the back of people's cars. And the thing that was so crazy to me is that how different it was on the ground than it was on the news.
Yeah.
It was really a story of aspiration, of people trying to be like Crocodile Dundee and all these. So I really relate with the story of aspiration, and it was 95% amateur hunters. And that first summer I met Jimbo, and Jimbo was basically like, all these people are coming here from California and New York, and they don't know what they're doing, and they're all yahoos. I was like, maybe he is right. And I also met Richard, who came in from San Francisco. He was there for 10 days. He was wearing a red trucker hat and had a mustache, like a handlebar mustache. And he was really like trying to be this Florida guy for 10 days. I thought they were like a yin and yang, and they kind of convinced me that there was really a movie. And we were able to, use that, a little bit of the footage we shot that first year, take it around and get finance.
You kind of get some funding.
I mean, and that's just sort of, it was that time in the film industry that you could get money to make a documentary, and I felt like I still expressed myself with the documentary. So.
Oh my God, I think you did. It was so you when I saw it, so I really love that. I think it's crazy that you tried to adapt Lance Lazardi. We got to talk about
that's
that.
a different.
Because that's like an experimental short almost. So Toby and Jimbo, when Xander approached you all, like what exactly did he lay out as sort of the dynamic? I mean, what did he pitch you to kind of let him follow you around and convince you that he wasn't maybe completely insane?
Xander had contacted.
So that first summer, Harley Shaw, who was my friend at the time, and still is my friend, she became our casting director.
Okay.
And she is the one who actually reached out to, I think, Toby. But yeah, go on. I just want to give Harley her props.
Xander crossed paths with me kind of accidentally. He was working with some other people down south, pretty far south of me, about 100 miles south of me. And he ran into some guy. A few people had mentioned there's a guy up north. And finally, one of the people he mentioned me to was like, oh, that's Jimbo. He's a friend of mine. Let me make a phone call. Gave me a call, and I had dealt with people that were doing stuff like this. Oh, I want to make a sizzle reel. I want to do this. I want to do that. I was like, yeah, whatever. Come on up. Let's see how it goes. And he showed up 5 deep. There was you, I think it was Dave the first day.
Yeah. But I want to be specific. Someone said to me, there's a person that lives in a place called the Holy Lands named Jimbo, and he had an interesting reputation. I was like, okay, that sounds exciting. I want to meet this person. And I literally just asked anyone that was, hunting in the Everglades, do you know Jimbo in the Holy Lands? And they're like, yeah. I think they didn't even say your name. I think they just said a guy that lives out in the Holy Lands. There's only one person that lived there.
You're the only one?
I'm the only one.
There has to be Jimbo. Yeah, so we met,
Yeah, and he ran into Mike, a friend of mine, Mike, that was like, I know him, let's put you in touch. And like I said, I wasn't expecting much, and these guys showed up 5 deep, very professional, they're on point, and they just, within like an hour, they won me over. I really was just like trying to get it over with, doing Mike a favor. And I met them guys, and within an hour, I kind of opened up to them. I was like, all right, here's what's really going on. Let's see if we can do something with this. And we spent the better part of the day and then into the evening with me that day, probably about 6 hours.
Then we stayed in touch, and we out of all the people in the film, Jimbo and I actually lived closest to each other.
Okay.
So I
45 minutes apart.
Nice. The same thing for you, Toby. Like, just exactly when did you encounter this man?
I encountered him when I made it down in 2023 to the Python Challenge. My first encounter with Xander. Harley Shaw, his casting director, reached out to me. She'd read a few things that I'd published over the years, and just wanted to know if I wanted to be a part of it. Like, well, yeah, sounds fun. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but yeah. When like Jimbo said, when they showed up, man, they were all professional, and I was like, oh wow. I was expecting a bunch of college kids with Sony camcorders.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what this was going to turn into, but I couldn't be more proud to be a part of it. And I thank Xander every chance I get for letting me be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's just something about you two guys are just, you guys kill me in this movie. You're incredible, and what you guys are out there doing is just completely insane. I mean, I grew up in South Florida, and I wouldn't drag my ass into the Everglades if you paid. Well, like I said, we've got a mic out there for anybody in the audience that wants to come up and ask some questions, whatnot. We have about 15 minutes of open time for the rest of the Q&A. So if anyone wants to jump on it, yeah, run up, go for it. You want to just yell it? Hold on. I like you. I'm gonna give you.
I do want to say a year. Zan, who's still around in Vero Beach, but this was the one time she came to the theater to see the film was here. And that was an amazing experience having her.
Yeah, we had this screen last year at the Florida Film Festival, 2 years ago.
Was that
25 Film Festival. So, you have a question right here.
Yeah, can you hear me? Oh, great.
Yeah.
I don't have to yell. Amazing documentary. Loved the varying perspectives, the editing, the soundtrack, the music was great. So
appreciate it.
Awesome.
Appreciate you sitting front row too.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
My questions though are for your stars, right? So I've been to film Q&As, and I've never been to a film Q&A with the focus of a documentary, right? So this is really amazing. What was the experience like while you were doing it, right? In terms of being followed around, level of direction, kind of where you're performing versus not, being authentic, I'm just curious. As well as then seeing the final product where there's all these layers of editing on top of it, right? It's the voiceover, a lot of your writing, or your interpretation of the Florida Wildlife Commission's project, the director has created a narrative. I'm just curious what you think about seeing the final project, the final result.
When I first saw the final result, I was in Austin, Texas for the South by Southwest Film Festival, and I was just blown away. Because like I said, I really didn't know what to expect. As far as that direction, Xander, he played it pretty organic. He didn't really tell me to do much of anything. I was just being me, We were out looking for snakes, and it's long hours, ridiculous amount of boredom. But when you actually get on one, it's pretty intense. And I don't want to say they stayed out of the way, because they're never really in the way. They're absolutely a part of it. But it was cool having the extra company, having the extra eyes helping me look. And it was just a wonderful experience all the way around. And now seeing the final product and having seen it a few times now, I'm just like I said, I'm just real proud to be a part of it. It's really something.
Do you have any scars, any holes in your arm from the the epic battle sequence?
No, they all healed up.
They all
pretty
healed
good.
up nicely.
His
Yeah,
biggest
you just
battle
go
was
button and
your
couple
biggest
of
battle was
kids.
off camera.
Miss Ann.
Well, there's also you got hit by a deer.
Oh yeah.
There was a one like we left you guys one night and then
Yeah,
you stayed hunting and you got hit by a deer.
on my truck. Yeah, you never know what you're gonna expect. And I spotted this deer's about 40 yards out in the sawgrass, and I was so excited to actually see one because they're so rare down there because of the snakes.
Yeah.
And as I'm lighting him up with my spotlight, and I tell everybody, look, there's a deer. And by that time, he drops his head and came full charge, and it just ruined the truck door. And I never did fix it because it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a good story. You always pay for the story.
That's the story you were asking me about.
That's the
Charge his truck.
All right, we've got one right here. Hi.
I very much enjoyed the film. Awesome work, y'all. And I really appreciate y'all being here too. My question's more for Jimbo and Toby. Was there anything that y'all recall being filmed that you didn't get to actually see on the screen that you wish had been there?
That's a good question.
Yeah, there was, I had a film crew with me for 6 of the 10 nights, 7 of the 10 nights at some point. There was a lot going on, so, did anything really significant get not used? I don't think so. I think, when we caught that big python, that was pretty much the climax of our getting out with these crews, but, there was a couple other things that I would have liked to have seen get put in it, but for the most part, everything that made sense and everything that that was really, exciting to put in a film, it got in there. Except for me fighting with Shannon a lot more. Me and my daughter.
There necessarily had to be a lot left on the cut room floor. I mean, you had, what was it, like 250?
Yeah, how much footage do you have raw?
I feel like I wish there were more conversations with you and Miss Ann, in the truck. I could have listened to that for hours, but for real.
Yeah, she was. I tried my best, the best I knew how to prepare her for the bugs and the heat and the long hours, and she just didn't get it until she actually got there and experienced it. And she was having meltdown after meltdown. And not exactly what she was accustomed to. Now she's lived a long life and she's had adventures with her husband all over the world. And I remember one of the biggest meltdowns she had because there wasn't a silver service in the little motel room in Everglades City. I'm like, I don't know how to help you with that. They don't even have room service. I'll go get what you need, But yeah,
that was a storyline we cut out. We are going to prepare some deleted scenes, but yeah, there was a scene of you saying, she was like, "I'm hungry, Toby," and you're like, "I got some bananas in the truck," and she's like, "I would like my meal," and you're like, "I'm a really poor waiter."
Bananas and gin and tonics.
Yeah, I think she was used to regular tours that you pay a lot of money for, and someone prepares meals for her.
Yeah,
but this was sort of her
I
first time doing
introduced
this
her
on her
to
own.
Vienna sausages, and there's a scene in the movie.
Yeah, there's a scene of her eating the Vienna.
Where she's eating Vienna sausages. First time she'd ever had Vienna sausages, and she ate a whole case of them. she's like, these are very inexpensive, but they're delicious. And I'm like, all right.
She got to get on the barbecue.
Can I jump in here and ask you a question real quick? What did the room smell like after that case of Vienna sausages?
As bad as the cab of my truck, I promise.
All right, we have another person coming up here for the Q&A.
Hi there. I didn't realize that the theme of this film was so world spread. I'm from an island called Aruba, and we do this annually. We have a boa constrictor problem in terms of just you got rich people move in, bring these beautiful snakes, and then they get hyper massive. So that's where it's just like one in terms of just like my life. This was hilariously analogous, but two, it's like this is a whole thing globally, and the ending line of the film basically is like there's never been a successful reptilian extraction. It is
of reptiles.
Yeah, reptiles. Yeah, reptilian. Yeah, we could probably do better with the reptilians. But yeah, it's strange how this is the solution that we go for to really deflect from a lot bigger problems. So I thought that was super real. Toby, your prose is incredible. I don't know why, maybe I was just hallucinating in the back, but like somehow Like, your pros made this film like an analogy to like the dream that's on the first page of Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Like, it just like, in terms of there's this like monster looking back across the lake and he's dreaming with his daughter. Like, it just, your poetry just transformed how this film hit me. So that was just incredible, and I really hope that was that got posted in terms of that's just your journalism. The question that I have is what blew my mind from the get-go, and maybe it's just like y'all are just killer pros working on this film. I cannot believe how like the low light was handled with such an uncontrolled environment, and I was just wondering like what the confidence level was when it comes to the film crew, like working in that low light condition, and just really just like, was there a transformation in post? Or is this kind of what you guys like came off the floor with, like at the Lens? Because it's honestly, it's unbelievable what you guys pulled off considering the conditions. Awesome.
I appreciate that. I love it. I love a technical question. Yeah. So, first of all, I think we were lucky in that snakes are so hard. These pythons are so hard to see at night that all the hunters had amazing rigged like lights on their trucks. So there was a lot of practical light we were working with all that at night. So we lit the whole thing with their professional flashlights and their
light bars on our trucks.
Their light bars.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, I don't think this film could have been shot in this way maybe 15 years ago. We used a camera called the Alexa 35. It's a digital camera. It just shoots really well at night. We use prime lenses that were mostly open, and we had a great color grade, but I think we pushed that camera to the limits we could, and I just think all those things combined gave it a look. And we were just I was excited to push the brightness as much as we could at night. But to me, I still think there's some parts that are kind of dark. But
and they had David Bolin and Matt Clegg working the cameras, and those guys are amazing. Working with them was something I never expected. It was amazing.
Yeah, and there's 3 other additional cinematographers, and they're all great too. So, we had 3 units shooting during the main competition, and each cinematographer was an amazing cinematographer in their own right, even if they didn't shoot, as many days as the other ones. So, great problem to have. I think we also filmed this during the strikes, so I think there were a lot of people that were available to work on it too. Not that we're super proud of that, but it was you take what you can.
For sure. We've got one coming up right here. Def Temperature. Represent.
I just wanted to say first that I really enjoyed and appreciated this movie as someone who was born and raised in South Florida, and also I was in Scouts, so I spent a lot of time out in the Everglades, out in the wilderness. The question I had was, when it comes to shooting shots of the animals, a close-up of pythons or alligators, I always wondered, not just with this, but in general with nature documentaries, I wonder what techniques and what kind of safety precautions go into place when it comes to filming, because I see scenes like that and I'm thinking, how are you getting this footage without getting attacked by the animals?
Yeah, I mean, the shots of the gators, we were at a pretty safe distance, I would say. The pythons, the pythons are not trying to bite you or anything, and only if you provoke them. Yeah. And I think for wildlife photography, you just have to be very patient. And we tried to get as many animal shots as we could after people did catch snakes, because I wanted to really give them a presence in the film. And then a lot of that stuff was we're on a zoom lens. We're far, like the gators, for instance. But yeah, I mean, you guys, the cottonmouth scene, there was someone closer to that snake than the camera.
Awesome. I guess we've got one more coming up right here. Hey.
Hello. My question is way less technical. I grew up in South Florida, and I remember field trips, mucking around in the Everglades at 5 years old. So I guess I just wanted to know, as far as Mr. Director Man, where are you from in South Florida? But secondly, I would like to plug Elle Barbato. She was in the first minute of the film, and she's the reason that I'm currently wearing invasive pythons in my hair. So, but yeah, that's my question.
She made like a.
Yeah, she does bags and bras and gun holsters and.
She made like a hair tie.
Is it like a wrap?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're like little hair wraps.
Yeah. I currently live in Broward County, and I grew up in Palm Beach County, which is right north of that. And,
Where in each?
What's up?
Where in each?
Well, I live in Hallandale, which is near Hollywood and between Hollywood and Aventura, and in Palm Beach County, I grew up basically on the border of Delray Beach and Boca Raton.
I'm near Coconut Creek.
Well, cool. You know, Florida represent, obviously. And, I saw Elle
Did
make
you
some
come
machete,
up from South Florida for this
machete
screening?
holsters.
No, I live here now.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Like your level of commitment. I was trying to gauge your level of commitment. Or potentially stalker.
I miss it.
It's just,
What is
No,
it?
sorry.
we got time for one more. Anybody? Oh, you got one right here, young man. Yes.
My question is, what was the taste of the snake?
That's not Toby. What do you think?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
How did the snake taste?
Oh, it tastes kind of like chicken.
And Toby,
Now, to a more educated palate, it tastes a lot more like python. It has a very neutral flavor. It really takes whatever seasonings you put on it. And I think that one we had some lemon and pepper on there. I mean, it's good. I'm told by some people it's an acquired taste, but first time I tried it, I really enjoyed it.
Toby? Would you rate it out of 10? Rate it out of 10.
Oh, 1 to 10, 10 being the best, give it an 8.5.
Nice.
Toby has an Everglades cookbook. It's out of print, but he might put it in print. Don't you also? You have a recipe for python?
Yeah, I published a cookbook back in 2014, I believe it was, called Carnivore Country, and it's 200 meat entrees, and there's a section in the back that does include a few python recipes also.
Was that your recipe in the film?
No.
Well, how did you prepare it?
No, actually, in the film, if you recall, I didn't even cook it.
No,
I cut it up and it was just taken over, and I just went and had a seat off to the side, and they cooked it and did whatever they wanted to do to it, and it turned out pretty good.
How would you have cooked it?
Yeah, actually, I would have marinated it. There's so much collagen. The constrictors, it's all muscle, and there's so much collagen around each individual muscle group that it's a little chewy, unless you take the time to marinate it or do something to kind of tenderize it quite a bit. So I would have taken my time and just left it a couple nights in the fridge in a nice marinade before I put it on the grill. But I have I've done that before, and I've taken it out and cut it up and made use it the same as you would chicken and rice or chicken and dumplings, but it's python, and it works pretty good across any chicken or poultry type recipe.
You cut it up a little bit finer though, like smaller chunks.
Oh yeah, and I'll take the bones out of it also. Yeah. That was just an impromptu.
Because they cooked it kind of like you would cook like grilled chicken. That's why the consistency was not right.
Yeah.
It was a little tough.
It was a little tough, but the flavor was good.
Nice. Well, Xander, let's want to wrap up with you, but you're touring this movie around the country right now. Cisco's putting it out, which is incredible. And congratulations, because selling a documentary at this time is very, very difficult.
I learned that. Yeah.
But what's the plans? Like, what can people keep track of it with VODs, streaming? You mentioned a physical release for deleted scenes, so.
Yeah, I think we're gonna keep doing theatrical for probably another month-ish, and then I think we'll start rolling out VOD, then a Blu-ray, and all that stuff. And yeah, if you follow Oscilloscope, they'll have all the information about that. But yeah, I mean, we premiered at South by in 2025, so it's a long. It takes a long time, but it's nice to screen this with people.
Yeah.
I hope it'll have the same effect when you watch it at your house, but we'll see.
I mean, it's a pretty incredible. I mean, the fact that you have the movie shot in scope is also partially to me insane. Like it's crazy. It's such a.
The Everglades is wild.
It is, but you also have a movie that's a lot of darkness in it. But it's so incredibly cinematic, and I do give you and obviously your DP is an incredible amount of credit for that. because I do think seeing this on the screen, and we're going to run it for the rest of the week here, is really an incredible way to see with this movie, because it does feel like you're in it.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to make an immersive film. I mean, the first summer I did the Python challenge, I thought I was going insane. And maybe I was overheated, maybe I was, because I wasn't seeing any animals. But I think there was a sensory experience of being out there that I really wanted to put into a film beyond, like someone asked what felt like when you watched the film. You said on camera, I'm really tired, I really want to find a snake. But I think it's more to show what that feels like for you too. Like feel you going insane trying to find this woman, a snake. And show her going insane, like thinking that, that she thought there was going to be snakes everywhere and there weren't.
Oh, yeah, she thought they were just going to be jumping in the back of the truck.
So to me, it's like, how do you make that experiential? How do you feel that and still make it a documentary at the same time? So that was sort of the goal
I think that
of doing something
nailed it.
that's like a 10-day event. Because it's, if we were filming for years and years, then maybe it would become more of like a specific character story. But this was more of a
this is like you're on for the ride. Like, I mean, I did very much feel like I was there. The heat felt oppressive. Like, I mean, it really is lived in. So congratulations to you, of course.
I appreciate it.
I'd love Jimbo and Toby to just tell us, tell the fan, you have fans now. Like there's no question. So how can they keep track of you? Can they stalk you? Okay.
Just
say again. The next tour?
The next,
we go out and find some
Python
animals
tour.
Downtown Orlando.
There's a bunch of woods out back.
Hop in Toby's truck, grab a 6-pack, and we're good to go.
Toby's going to be doing the Python challenge this year. If anyone wants to join.
July 10th through the 20th, I'll be back down in Everglades hunting in the Python challenge. I've got another collective group of people I'll be guiding again this year, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you ever get a chance, Google me. My contact information's all over the place, so give me a shout and I'll come on down and hunt one with me.
Love it. Well, thank you guys so much for coming out. Please, a huge round of applause for these guys. I can't appreciate this enough.
People will be here tomorrow too, and us, 3 p.m. If you have any friends that you think would like the movie.
Yeah, go home, tell everybody you got to see this, you got to meet these guys. We're going to do it again tomorrow at the 3 o'clock screening. So, all right, thank y'all so much for coming out.